Hey there, my name is Lexi, and in this video I would like to sit with you to tell you how to build a Pro Tools template. Now all of this is on the fly. I didn't prepare any notes. This is just me talking to you and helping you through building up your very own template. So we're going to start with the basics, and I guess this will be a part 1 video and a part 2 as well. In part 2 I'll actually show you which plugins to put onto your template to make sure that everything is sounding crispy and industry standard. But in this first part we have to build up our template first. So here we have a blank Pro Tools session. Immediately what I think of, well, I need to be able to record something. Let's say I want to record some vocals. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a few audio tracks. I need a track to be able to record onto. For me personally, I already know the type of singer that I am and the way that I record my vocals. I'm going to want a lot of stacks for harmonies as well as some stacks for my lead vocals. So I'm just going to go ahead and create, we'll do 21 audio tracks. One of those tracks is going to be our cut track or our record track. So we have our 20 tracks. All right, let me deselect out of that. We're going to take this first one and we're going to label this our cut track. Or if you want to, you can label it record. It doesn't really matter. It's, you know, whatever you want your template to be. And record is a red color, so I'm going to change the color of that track to red. The way that I did that is I simply double clicked on the side of the track. Let me show you again. Double click on the side of the track where the color tab is, and then that color thing comes up and you can change the colors to make it suit your personal taste. For me, I like my record track to be red because red is record. Alright, so I have that ready, and now, well actually I think my microphone is in this input, so that would be there. That is my record track. Now when we think about the parts of a song, we need a verse, we need a hook, might have some, and for me definitely I'm gonna have backgrounds. So the way I like to record, I have a lead track. I actually feel like having all of this capitalized. So I have a lead track, sorry, just moved the microphone. And the way I like to do my leads most of the time is I'll stack it, but on the left and on the right. So I'm going to have a lead track, a lead left, and a lead right. And I like my template to be color coded. So I'm going to select this track. I'm going to push down shift to be able to select all 3. And now I'm going to hold shift and command at the same time, double click on that color tab, and I'm going to change the color of these all to pink, a nice deep pink, or somewhere almost purple. So those are my lead tracks, and let's see, for me, I like those stacks on the side of my leads to be like barely noticeable, and I'm a little OCD when it comes to these things, so it has to be exactly 10. And now for my lead left, I'm going to pan it to the left 16 and to the right 16. So that way, if I feel like I want to dub any specific lines or words during my verses, then that's what I'll do on my lead track. So once we do the lead, now that's for my verses. Probably going to need something for my hook. So this next audio track, we're going to call that hook. And we'll do the same thing with the lead track. So I'm going to make a hook on the left side and a hook track on the right side. And again, select that to highlight it, push shift, click all the way down through the tracks I want to highlight, hold down shift command, double click to get that color tab going. I like my hook tracks to be this nice blue color, so I'm going to make it blue. Again, you can make yours whatever color you want to, it doesn't matter. It's your world, it's your template. This is something you have to live with every time you record, so make it fun for you, you know, put it into colors that you like. So now, because of the way I record my music, I love harmonies and I love stacks. When you listen to my songs and you hear all the different harmonies that I do, it's layers upon layers upon layers of just these full rich harmonies, right? Well, the way that I achieve that, I'm letting you in on some secrets right now. We're gonna make 4 tracks for each harmony. So I usually have a high, a mid, and a low. So I'm going to go ahead and label my background tracks: high 1, high 2, high 3, high 4, and then I have my mids: mid 1, mid 2, mid 3, mid 4, and then my lows: low 1, low 2, low 3, low 4. And if you're wondering how I am going through naming my tracks without having to, actually click on it, rename, okay, click on it and rename and okay. The short way to do this is you double click on something to rename it, and then you're going to hold down Command and push the right or the left arrow depending on which direction you want to label your tracks. So that's how you do that. I have all of my tracks for backgrounds laid out. So again, I like to color code things because I'm slightly OCD. Everything has to be in order. So highlight that, hold down Shift, and highlight through all of the low tracks. You're going to hold down Shift and Command once again, double click on that color tab, and I like my background vocal tracks to be a pretty light blue. And I also like to see them all in the screen. I can't see all of the tracks that I have right now. So I still have these highlighted. I'm going to push Shift Option, click on this meter here, this ruler on the side, and hit small. So now all of my background tracks are small. And that's just to affect the sizes of those, right? So if you wanted to affect the track sizes of all of your tracks in your session, then you would simply hold down Option, click on that ruler so you can get your options going, and then click on whatever size you want. If you want to fit all of your tracks into the window, you would just push E, and that will make everything fit. But for now, I don't want my background tracks to be that small, and I generally like to keep these tracks medium. So excuse me, that's how we have that. So now what you want to do, we still have these extras here, so I guess I could just call that my ad-lib track. Ad-libs 1, oops, ad-libs 2. Those can be my ad-lib tracks, and gotta have that color in there. Let's make them orange. Okay. So now everything is just going out of our main output. Well, we need to be able to route these things so that I'm not having to individually manipulate them or individually put, plugins on each of these. So I'm going to create what's called an aux track for each group of my vocals. So, and I actually want my auxes to be sitting just above each group that I'm going to be recording in. So I'm going to click and highlight the track above it to, make sure that when I create my new track, it will show up between this cut track and the lead track. So the short key to creating a new track is going to be Shift Command N. Hold that all at the same time. This box pops up. I am going to do a stereo aux input for my leads. We'll make one just for now so I can show you how to do this. Double click on that color tab. I like my auxes to be green, and labeling is very important. So I'm going to double click on that, name it lead aux. But as of right now, it's still going to that main output source, to my monitors. Everything is running through my monitors. I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to make the input of this bus track. Since it's stereo, we're going to make it bus 1 and 2. And again, I like to keep everything nice and organized. So I'm going to right click on that, rename it, and I'm going to call it lead. So now, whenever I go in to route all of my tracks to this, it's going to go to the lead bus. So let me explain signal flow real quick in case you're not sure about that. So right now, everything is going out through the main auxes. You want to follow that signal path. So right now, I want all of these lead tracks to go into my lead aux. The input of this lead is called lead because that's what we labeled it. So this is the input here. This is the output of my track. To change the output of all of these tracks, again, you're going to highlight that first one, hold down Shift, and click through to the last track that you want to manipulate. And now to change all of their outputs at the same time, I'm going to hold Shift and Option, click on the output. I'm going to route it to that bus called the leads. Click on that. And now you see that all three of the outputs of those tracks have been changed to the lead. So think of that signal flow in this way. All of these lead tracks are going out to the lead aux, but if that lead aux if its input is not specified, then they wouldn't go anywhere. It would just be a dead path, right? So we're going out through the lead bus, and now we made the input of this aux track the lead bus. We made the input lead. So now those leads are going out of our main monitors or our main output. So hopefully you followed that signal path. That was a bit choppy the way that I said it. It wasn't very eloquent at all. So I'm going to review it for myself and for you out there. All right, so right now, our lead tracks are going out through the lead bus. But now that lead bus is going out and the lead bus is coming into our lead aux. So that's why the input of our aux track is the lead bus. That bus would be dead if we didn't specify where that signal is going to go out. So that signal is going out through our main monitors, through our main output. And that's how we have our signal. So I created an aux track for all of my leads, for my verses. I'm going to do the same thing for the hook track. We're going to create a stereo aux, excuse me. We're going to rename that hook aux, change the color. All right. So now we're going to create a new bus 3 and 4, rename that, call it the hook, so I can easily find it when I'm routing my audio tracks. So route the output of my audio tracks to bus hook. Boom. And now they're going through there. So now I need to route all of my background tracks to an aux as well. There are a couple ways you can do this. The way that I tend to do it is I group all of my tracks together. So my high harmonies are going to have their own aux, my mid harmonies are going to have their own aux, and my low harmonies are going to have their own aux. And then each of those auxes is going to route to a background vocals aux. So I don't feel like, creating a new thing and labeling it. So I'm going to create multiple auxes at the same time. So I'm going to Shift Command N. Let's create, I need one for the high, one for the mid, one for the low. So that's going to be 3 stereo aux inputs. Well, actually I need 4 because I need a background vocal aux. There we go. So here, high aux, mid aux, low aux, and then background vocals aux. BGV for short, background vocal aux. Boom, Shift Command, double click the color tab, make them all green. I think that's the same color. It's not. Slight OCD here. They all have to be the same color for me. All right. And now I'm going to set this at the end of my highs. The mid aux goes at the end of my mids, the low aux at the end of my low, and the BGV vox at the end of all of that. So let's see. I want to make this bus the highs. So that's bus 5 and 6. Rename it to make it easier to find. High. The mid aux, bus 7 and 8. Rename it mid. The low aux goes on to bus 9 and 10. Rename it low. And then all of those, my BGV bus 1112, rename BGV. Boom. So now don't forget to route all of those to their respective aux tracks. Make the output of the highs go to my high bus. The output of my mids is going to go to the mid bus. Right. The output of my lows go to the low bus. And now, all right, here. Oh my goodness, here, I know it's control. Nope, it's not control. Well, it's command. Okay, so highlight all of those, high, mid, low. Now all of those are gonna go to my background Vox aux. Boom, there we go. So, and actually, I think I want my ad-libs to go along with my leads. So I'm going to bus these to the leads bus as well. Good. Let's make this small so you can see everything, or most of it. All right, so now we have a place for our verse and our ad-libs. We have a place for our hook, and you could use this ad-lib track for those ad-libs as well. We have a place for our harmonies. They have their own aux. Mids have their own aux, lows have their own aux. And the background vocals have their own aux in general as well. I think I want a different color. Let's make it yellow. Yeah, that's pretty. So now, lastly, we need a master fader. So I'm going to Shift Command N, create new track, make it stereo, master fader and samples, create. I like it to be at the top of my session because it's the master, it's above all. And I actually like my master to be yellow. And this is just me being picky. I'm going to change the color of my background vocals, aux, and there's got to be a color. All right, we're going to settle for a deep green. So that is a basic template for just vocals. We just added in our master aux. That's going to control the volume or the sound of everything that's happening in the session. So think of this as the master volume, basically. For my vocals, I like to have reverb and delay. So I'm going to create more auxes, at least 2 more, and they're going to be stereo as well. Now the reason why I'm creating an aux versus just inserting, let's say, reverb on my directly onto the tracks is because this is known as a hard bus. So this is just on the track, but I can't really control how much of the audio is going, you know, how much of the audio is being affected by that reverb effect. So that's why I'm creating an aux, so I can do what's called a soft bus. Now you're gonna see what I mean in just a moment. I wanna bring these up here because I'm tired of looking down. And double click to make those green. All right. So verb aux and delay aux. And we're gonna make these bigger just for the sake of this video. So on my verb aux, where it says under inserts, this is where we're going to directly insert our reverb. Depending on what your favorite reverb is, you can do deverb, between deverb and true verb is what I usually like to choose. But deverb is probably the stock that comes with Pro Tools. So we're gonna put that on there. And now, see how this input doesn't have anywhere to go. So there's a chain being broken somewhere. Right now, we can't link this to anything because there's no input for this. So we're going to make this bus 13 and 14, rename it verb. Very good. And now I'm going to, well, let's go to the delay first. So go to the delay, and we're gonna put on that stock delay from Pro Tools as well. Personally, my favorite is the H delay, which is here. I think that's a Waves plugin, so that's not gonna come with Pro Tools. That's a package that you have to purchase separately, but I'm gonna put that on there. And then of course I need to create a bus for it, 15 and 16, rename, call it delay. Boom. So now my verb aux and my delay auxes have been created. Drag that to the bottom of my session. So now we're creating what's called a soft bus. So instead of having reverb on each of our individual tracks, we're going to insert reverb onto our aux for our audio tracks. So that is why we created an aux for these leads, for the hooks, and for the background vocals, so we can be able to control that reverb. So our reverb is on a bus, so we're sending part of the signal from our leads to that reverb bus. So now on here, this is where you can control how much reverb you want to be on your vocals. And maybe I should bring in an actual audio track to show you. So give me just a moment. Let me import something that I can show you. Let's do from a recent session, something that's maybe kid friendly. Where does the time go? All right, so let's bring the verse in so I can give you a proper example. I don't know if that's gonna play on me. Oh, you know what? It's because I don't have it routed properly. So I'm gonna make this go to my leads in here so we can hear it.
You work a 9 to 5, someone else's goal, home from 5 to 9.
See how dry that is? That's extremely dry. So we're going to open this up, and now let's listen to what that sounds like when I start adding in or dialing in some reverb.
Work a 9 to 5, someone else's goal, home from 5 to 9, but wasted while you're home.
See that?
Spending the days to get money for low. Work for some.
So now from there you can control how much reverb you want on your track versus, let's look at this. If I only put reverb directly onto the track, sorry, I can't find my way here. If I only put reverb directly on the track, now I'm stuck with that. I can manipulate it here, but honestly, that's kind of frustrating for me. So I like to just put it directly onto the lead aux and be able to control it from here. So it's dry right now, and then we're gonna dial it into the amount of reverb that I want.
Work a 9 to 5, someone else's goal, home from 5 to 9.
There you go. Oops, a little too much power. Let's change this. 1024. All right, but now I have the amount of reverb that I want.
Work a 9 to 5, someone else's goal.
Cool. And the same thing with the delay. So I like reverb and delay on my vocals, so I'm going to add delay onto here.
Work a 9 to 5, someone else's goal, home from 5 to 9, but wasted while you're home, spending.
So I think I generally like to keep it around this level, just for, you know, a slight little echo in the background.
Work a 9 to 5, someone else's goal, home from 5.
Cool, and there you have it. So I just really wanted to give you a quick example of why you create a separate verb track and delay track. That's basically it for a basic template. I will show you how to add on your different plugins to make your voice sound, you know, that industry standard, to give it that industry and radio quality. But that is it for this video. I hope I was able to help you learn something new today and get you started on your journey as an audio engineer. But until next time, peace. All the engineer has to do is sit back and make sure that you get a good sound quality recording. The engineer is not in charge of making sure that you're giving your best performance. You as the artist, you should already know what you want out of your song and what you're going to do to achieve that. So if you don't know that, then that could cause things in the session to move a little bit more.